Hey, 7th grade, good morning. This is your language lesson for Tuesday, April the 7th. We'll look at a few things on lesson 13. This was verb review. Make sure you're familiar with verbs. And we'll look at the diagrams. Make sure we have diagrams figured out. Make sure that you have lesson 14, which is the self-check, the odds finished for tomorrow. Okay, we're not going to talk much about that. Just do what you can, do your best. We will go over quite a bit of that tomorrow and talk about what will be on the language test, which is on Thursday then. So Wednesday we will go over lesson 14, the self-check, and then Thursday is the test. So let's look at lesson 13 now. Turn to lesson 13, please. Page 48. Looking at verb review. Remember, you're supposed to be reading to family members, siblings, entertain your mom. Learn to read with expression. Make it interesting. Okay? Expression, the way you pronounce words, expression, most of all, and reading well makes it interesting. Okay? Exaggerate the expression. Change your voice. If it's a child speaking, if it's an adult speaking, change your voice. Exaggerate expression. Make it fun. All right, look at page 48. You're supposed to underline the verb or verb phrase and write action, being, or linking. The verb or verb phrase. A verb phrase means the main verb, which is the last verb in a phrase. The main verb with its helping verbs is a verb phrase. Has been riding bike. Has been riding. Okay? Has been at home. Then you simply have has been. Look at the last verb in the phrase to decide whether or not it's action, linking, or being. Number 3. For the past week, huge flocks of geese have been migrating. Should all be underlined. Have been migrating. And migrating is an action verb, so that is number 3 is action. Number 5. You should have been at the book fair. You should have been. Should have been is the verb. What is that? Action, linking, being. That is simply being. You should have been there. You should have been. That is being. Number 7. Every evening about sundown, a stray dog appears at our door. Now, appears is one of those that can be either action or linking, right? So what is appears at the door? Or appears is the verb. Underline appears. That is action. Okay, he shows up at the door. That's the action. If you say, Mr. Lauren appears sick this morning. All right. Hopefully I don't think I am. I keep taking my vitamins. Ellie tells me to take your vitamin C so you don't get sick. She's been sick. She was, and Glenda has it. And I keep taking my vitamins, so yeah, every time I sit down at the table, she points at the bottle of vitamin C's. Take your vitamins, Dad. She's a bossy little child, and yeah, it hasn't improved since we're in quarantine. She's just kind of taken over. So the appears sick would be a linking verb, but in this case, they're showing up. He appears at the doorway. It's action. Number 9. Will you be at the soup supper on Friday evening? Verb, will be. Remember that in questions and interrogative sentences like that, the subject is often between the parts of the verb. Will be is being, simply being. Look at number 4. You didn't have to do 4. The old tree by the tool shed sounds hollow. What's the verb? And what kind of verb is it? Tree sounds. That's the verb, sounds. Is it action or linking? Okay, tree sounds hollow. Hollow is predicate adjective, so sounds is linking. That sounds one can be kind of tricky because you're thinking sounds. It's making a sound. Okay? But no, you're hearing the tree, and the tree is not actually doing the action. If you say the bell sounded out across the valley, then sound is an action verb. In this case, it is linking. All right, I have actually what's a simple definition? Simple definition for an action verb shows a verb that shows action, and you could have shows physical or mental action. A being verb is just a state of being. You are here. I am here. Helping verb helps out the main verb. And a linking verb, of course, links a word in the predicate part of the sentence with the subject, either describing or renaming the subject. All right, diagrams. Number 15. Again, let's look at subjects, verbs, before we diagram. You probably already have a diagram, but check out the parts of the sentence, all right? We're working with complex sentences. We're working with compound complex sentences, which makes the diagrams even more complex, right? So in number 15, what kind of sentence do we have? Although it was sunny and warm yesterday, today it is cold. So what's the main thought of the sentence? Well, what do we know about the word although? Although is a what? Although is a subordinating conjunction, right? Which means that a dependent clause has just been introduced. And the dependent clause is not the main thought of the sentence. So put brackets around, although it was sunny and warm yesterday. And find the subject and verb in there. It, underline once as a subject, was is the verb. What are sunny and warm? Sunny and warm is a compound what? Predicate adjective, describing it. What's yesterday? Yesterday says when it was, so that's an adverb. Don't forget about the conjunction, and don't forget about the subordinating conjunction, although, and where that goes. That's bracketed, and we have those subjects and verbs. So the main thought of the sentence is, today it is cold. All right? What's the subject of that? Again, we have it. Is the verb. Cold is another predicate adjective. And today is like yesterday. Today is an adverb. All right? So let's look at number 15. Actually, look at number 17. What do we have in 17? So 15 would be a what kind of sentence? 15 has a main idea, your independent clause. Today it is cold, and then it has a dependent, although it was sunny and warm yesterday. So it is a complex sentence. Number 17, Judy, Anita, and Faye have been classmates since first grade. That is simply a simple sentence. Put parentheses around since first grade. Make sure you know where that goes. You have a compound subject, Judy, Anita, and Faye. So 3 levels on your rocket, as we call them, sideways rocket there. Make sure you have the and where it belongs. Have been is the verb, and classmates would be a what? Classmates would be predicate nominative. All right, here are those diagrams, and we will also talk about the one that was given for you. Make sure you know what's going on. 15. The main idea goes on the top. See everything? It is cold. Okay? Predicate adjective. Today, adverb. It is cold today. Subordinating conjunction, connecting from verb to verb. subordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions introduce adverb clauses. So this is, goes to the verb to verb. It was compound, predicate, adjective, sunny and warm, adverb, yesterday. All right? Complex sentence. This is complex. Complex sentence. Independent clause with one dependent clause. All right, over here, number 17 then, fairly basic, besides the triple subject, Judy, Anita, and Faye have been, predicate nominative, I ran out of space, that's why I stacked it, have been classmates. When have they been classmates? It goes, this is an adverb phrase, since first grade, looking like that, okay? Just make sure you know how to do these, okay? You don't have to, I don't need this grade, but just make sure that you have these done right. Step aside, make sure you can see them good, make sure they're all on the camera. All right, now let's look at number 16 yet. You didn't have to do 16, but check it out. You should be able to figure out what kind of sentence we have by what the diagram looks like. So looking at the diagram, what kind of sentence do we have? We have a compound, complex sentence. So we have two main ideas, all right, connected with the stair-step, dotted line, solid line, dotted line, all right? So you have two main ideas there, and then you have the dotted line from verb to verb, which indicates you have a dependent adverb clause, right? So what are the different parts here? Before we leave for the library, get all of the books. We don't want any overdue books. All right? So what are the main parts? What are the independent? We have two independent clauses here. The top line and the bottom left line will be your independent clauses. What are they? What are the main thoughts of the sentence here? Well, before is a what? Before is a subordinating conjunction. So that's your dependent clause. So bracket, before we leave for the library. Make sure you get all of that phrase. Okay, that's one thing that some of you are missing. You would maybe put brackets around before we leave. Okay, the prepositional phrase for the library goes with that dependent clause. So brackets around before we leave for the library. Might as well get the subject, might as well figure out the subject and verb of this, right? Don't forget about the subordinated conjunction before. We is the subject, leave is the verb. Put parentheses around for the library, right? So then the main thought, the independent clauses are, get all of the books. And you notice the semicolon, which is your connecting the two independent clauses. Get all of the books. We don't want any overdue books. So the very top line is going to be get all of the books. What's the subject of get all of the books? The subject is you. You get. Get is the verb. All is the what? All is a direct object. And then of the books is a prepositional phrase. Circle the semicolon so you don't forget to put it on that chair. Sit it on the chair, right? We don't want any overdue books. We is the subject. Do want would be the verb. Books is another direct object. And then you have some adjectives there. And not or an apostrophe T is an adverb. So the top line of this diagram would be you in parentheses. You get all. Top line. Prepositional phrase under all of books the. Semicolon on the seat of the chair, which connects down to the next independent clause. We do want is the verb, books, direct object. Not is the adverb under do want, and then the adjectives, any over do under books. And then the dependent clause on the dotted line, on the long slanted dotted line, is your before. And the subject is we, verb, leave, for the library, the. All right, be familiar with those diagrams. So you have a complex sentence in number 15. You have a complex compound, number 16. And 17 is simply a simple sentence. Right? Make sure you have the self-check finished carefully for tomorrow. We will go over quite a bit of it. Make sure we know what we're doing and talk about what's on the test. The test will be on Thursday. Have a great day.